Hello and welcome to the ABCs of Weight Loss. I'm Deanna. I'm your host for today, and I'm on an adventure to lose over 100 pounds. But today's video is the ABCs of Weight Loss. Today we're going to be talking about words that begin with the letter G, and someday I will be able to do this and not have all kinds of weird errors and fun things that happen whenever I try to go live. But anyway, today we're talking about words that begin with the letter G. So go ahead in the comments box below. Go ahead and guess the words that you think that we may or may not be talking about. And while you guys are thinking of words that start with the letter G and typing them in the chat box and saying hello to everybody, we are going to welcome our special guest for the night, my very special friend. She's been a friend for a very long time. I met her on YouTube. She's been on a weight loss journey. She's magnificent. You probably know her, and if you don't know her, you need to go and check out her channel. I am so proud of this girl. She is known for one thing, and that is for doing it her way, and that's lose weight, Sarah. Welcome, Sarah. How are you?
That was such a good introduction.
Wrong way. Well, thank you.
I'm good. How are you?
I am, goals, man, group, growth, grateful. I'm good. I'm doing very good. Thanks for asking. How are you?
I'm a little tired at the moment, but other than that.
Yeah,
Rough
Wednesday,
rough
7.
work day.
Oh, tell me about it. I know a lot of people that had rough work days today, and I was one of them.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So I'm so happy that you're here today. So tell the people that don't know who you are, which I think everybody does, but just in case somebody stumbles upon this and they don't know who you are, just give us a little general overview of your weight loss adventure, journey, quest, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. So I got super serious when a lot of people did, right, during the pandemic. It was, I think, April of 2020. I was like pretty scared. So I was like, I kept hearing in the news, like, obesity is a high risk factor. And so I was like, I need to do something. And I was never very good at holding myself accountable. So I was trying to think of like something creative. And I was like, oh, you know what? I'll start a YouTube channel. Like, I'm sure nobody will ever watch it. And that's fine. It's for me. I'm doing it for me. So at that point, I was about 275 pounds. So I started to, try to lose weight just through a lifestyle change. So eating less, eating more healthy foods, and exercising. And I've been sharing that part of my journey on YouTube since April of 2020. And just this last year, I don't want to say that I wasn't successful. I did lose 30 pounds. And then I had a doctor's appointment where he basically said to me, I've been watching your blood pressure for the last, couple months, and it's been really high. And I think, your next appointment, we're going to have to put you on blood pressure medication. This was in about July of 2022. And he also said, he's like, oh, you managed to lose 30 pounds over the last 2 years. And I was like, 30 pounds. I feel like I worked so much harder than 30 pounds. Like, what the heck? And I was still proud of myself. But at the same time, I was like, something's got to give. I've got to do something. And he recommended to me multiple times bariatric surgery. So at that appointment, I was like, that's it. I'm over this. I'm going to find a way to do this. One way or another, if I have to give up an arm or something, I'll do it. And so fortunately I did not. I have both arms still. But I did find Blossom Bariatrics in Las Vegas, Nevada. They had an affordable option to get the vertical sleeve gastrectomy bariatric surgery. It's 80% of my stomach was removed during that procedure in August of 2022. And since then, I have lost a little over 70 pounds. So I'm up to my total weight loss since I started is just a little bit over 100 pounds.
Yay. Wow. That is excellent. Amazing. So I meant to say this before we got started, but the ABCs of Weight Loss is a safe weight loss place, and we do not judge anyone based upon the methods that they choose to lose the weight as long as they are doing it in a healthy manner for them. So yeah, there's no judgment or anything to anyone regarding the tools or methods that they choose, as long as they're healthy tools and methods. So I just want to, reiterate that for anybody that's new here or anything. I don't judge anybody based on those things. And I hope that the people that are coming to watch this show can also, share in that thought as far as that goes. I don't think that there's any one right way. It's the right way for you. And that's why I said that Lose Weight Sarah, she did it
my way.
I was like, come on, do it.
My way.
Oh, you got it. Oh, that's awesome. Yay. That just made my day. Okay.
Anytime.
So, okay.
So far back. Like so far back. Like I think you're like, if you're not my first subscriber, you're like in the top 5 of people who subscribe to my channel.
So Sarah used to do a Saturday morning, right? Saturday morning live stream.
Sundays.
Weight loss talk and coffee or Sundays? Okay.
Yeah, caffeine and calories.
Caffeine and calories, yes.
It's gonna come back eventually.
She did she always did. She started with non-scale victory. So in honor of Sarah joining us tonight, I thought that everybody could type in their non-scale victories in the chat, because everybody should be able to always brag about themselves, because it's the best part. And then it helps other people. We like to cheer for you. We like to celebrate you. It's always nice to hear what other people think is successes, because sometimes we think something is a non-scale victory, or we don't think it's a non-scale victory, but somebody else does. And we're like, oh man, that happened to me. I totally forgot. So type them in the chat. We'll be, here waiting for you to type them in. Misty's moving. She got her upstairs fully packed. That is huge.
That's a big one. Moving is so much work.
So much work. So much work. Good for you. Surgery is a tool and you still have to do the work. Congrats.
100% correct. It's not a magic quick fix, unfortunately. If anything, it takes more mental work.
It's a lot of mental work. And then, you have to condense the mental work into a shorter amount of time, because there's so much mental work that goes into weight loss. But because you're just confronted with so much all at once, you're really having to condense it. And that's going to take a lot of, I guess it's, for different people, it's going to work differently. But for some people, it would just be really, really hard to be able to do that. And I think for others, it would be, the saving grace that they actually needed in order to be able to do it. It's like, so everybody's going to be different on how, but wow, because it is a lot of work. And I kind of wanted to, if you guys haven't seen this video of Sarah's, I just kind of wanted to show a clip of it, because I think it really talks about the work that you have to do mentally. And that's kind of what the ABCs of weight loss. I'm not here promoting a diet. I'm not here talking about recipes. I'm not here talking about food all the time. I like to talk about the mental side of weight loss, because I think that it's a humongous part that gets overlooked all the time. It's managing our minds. So I just want to show a real clip video of that. And let's hope that I don't screw this up. So
you're not going to screw it up, do you? And if you do, well,
whatever.
Ready to place your order. Now, when that dish comes out, you feel a certain way, right?
Almost there.
I want you to think to go out to your favorite restaurant. When you get there, you glance at the menu, but you know your favorite dish at this restaurant. You know how delicious it is, and you're just ready to place your order. Now, when that dish comes out, you feel a certain way, right? So I want you to think about that feeling for just a moment. Think about how excited you get when the food comes. Think about how wonderful it smells, how you can't wait to dig in. Now, after weight loss surgery, that feeling is pretty much gonna either go away or change drastically. Even from the moment that you start looking at the menu, your decision on what you're gonna eat has to be a lot more intentional so that you can stick to your goals and follow the guidelines from your surgeon. And then if you do decide to order that delicious dish, you can really only have a few bites of it. So there's not this whole ritual of cleaning your plate that you have going on anymore. The first time that I felt this way, it was kind of sad. I kind of felt a certain way about it. Like it made me sad when I realized like I'm not ready to party because a plate of food came to my table. I'm not ready to dig in. I need to consciously take my small bites. I need to chew my food really good. On the flip side of that, I feel like I do enjoy food more than I did before.
Still true.
So that was just like kind of part of it. Just like that little, just little mental thing of just whenever you go, out to eat and, experience those things. And I think that's true. She says it later in her video that it's true, whether you have the surgery or not. It's still, it's something that you experience whenever you go. How many people in here, have gone out to eat with friends, family, whatever, and experience these different weird thoughts, whether it's, you want to clean your plate, whether it's, just that you can't necessarily eat what you really, really, really want to eat that day because it doesn't fit in with your plan or whatever. We have to go through these, different emotions and feelings sometimes, and it doesn't matter, right? So I just wanted to share that because I thought it was, it was a genius video. I loved it so much.
Thank you. Yeah. And I that's one of the things that like I'm really trying to focus on now in my channel is talking a lot more in a way that I think there's still a stigma around weight loss surgery, even though it's been around for decades. I think there's still this stigma that it is the easy way out or a quick fix, like I mentioned earlier, and it's not. I think it's a very difficult decision to make. Number one, to go through with the procedure, and then number two, I was very grateful that.
It's a G word.
G word. Grateful that I did as much work as I did the 2 years prior, getting my mindset right.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I did not have the mindset that I had going in, I do not think I would have been as successful. And I think that more bariatric programs should offer as some do. Not all of them though, but should offer some sort of mental health support, either a counselor or a coach or something along those lines. Because you could just watch a single episode of like My 600-Pound Life, and these people that go into doctor now and they're like, they can't stick to a low carb diet for a week. And meanwhile, if they have surgery, they have to pretty much do that for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
So, there is, and it's still, and there's no one type of person that holds this stigma. It's people just think you're going to go have your stomach stapled and come out and just be able to lose weight and eat whatever you want. And that's just, it's not how it works.
Nope, not at all. It's actually like so crazy what you eat.
Yeah. I have to be very careful, and learning the hard way is no bueno.
Mm-mm. Well, I guess you learn quicker because there's so many uncomfortable consequences of not, adhering to things that you're like, it's a little bit different than, if you're just on a regular diet and you have, your consequences aren't as big, I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never, but
no, that's a good point. And even so, like part of the learning curve is too, like, so, I think you automatically think like, oh, you just eat smaller portions of things, which is partially accurate, but even smaller portions of certain things are really like, it's not a good experience. It is very unpleasant. If you wanted a specific example, I got a McDonald's cheeseburger, just the regular little, and I ripped it in half, gave half to my dog. And I was like, I'm just going to have a bite or two because I knew I wouldn't be able to eat the whole thing. And after just like 2 bites, it feels like it sticks to you. It's really uncomfortable. It's a really hard feeling to describe because I don't want to be gross, but you don't throw up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't throw up. You just kind of, it just is kind of there. I don't want to be gross. I don't want to be gross on your live stream. G for gross.
G for gross. Gross is okay. We talk about gross. Gross is part of the journey. Okay.
It is. Yeah. God is it.
Ooh, JJ would like to see a what you eat in a day vlog.
I know. I promise I'm going to do one. The problem is I don't eat that much. So it's hard. Usually by the time I remember that I'm going to do it, I'm like, dang, I ate my breakfast. And it was like 3 bites of breakfast. And I'm like, well, now I can't film it. So maybe tomorrow. I think tomorrow I'm going to schedule. I'm just going to film my really generic eating day.
Tia agrees 100%. I have lap band and counseling was mandatory. Pre-surgery weight loss also required. I still forget at times and chug my water, and then up comes everything.
No. Yeah, the water chug.
You can't chug water? Oh my gosh.
No, and sometimes, so like this is usually what I have here. It's like especially I do it all the time when I get off the treadmill. I'll be like, and then I'm like, oh. It's not good.
I chug water all the time. That would be so hard to relearn how to do that, or how to not do that.
Yeah, it's really hard. It was really.
I wouldn't even think. I never even thought about that as a thing. Like so many other things, but never the water scenario.
Yeah, I used to love to like just literally like throw down a bottle of water, like a 20 ounce there. If I did that now, it would be really bad.
Wow. Wow. Crazy. So, yeah. And I think that having counseling that should, I think everybody should get counseling all the time personally, just because, I must be really messed up. But no, I think everybody should get counseling, but I think it's really important whenever you're doing more of a faster weight loss approach, because there's so many things that come up and there's so many issues, and you're doing it on fast forward, and you're not going through the, the nice gradual thing, G word, weight loss, so that it does in that. And especially like with the body dysmorphia, I think whenever you're losing weight with slower, we still get body dysmorphia with the slow weight loss. I can't even imagine what it's like whenever you drop, 30 pounds really, really fast in a couple of months or whatever. Like, it's going to be hard. Like, all of a sudden you've got to buy new clothes again and again and again. Like, it's crazy. Like, how has that been for you? Have you had a lot of hard times with going through all that?
So I think, yes. So to answer like bluntly, yes, absolutely. Like, it's really hard on some days to look at myself in the mirror and realize I'm down from, like, just for reference, for those who haven't met me or watched my channel, I am down from a size 2 to 3X to a size small medium. And that's I'm 7 months post-op. So very, very fast changes there. And I can put on smaller clothes, but still go look in the mirror and say negative things about myself. And it's hard. And I say this and like, don't take anybody the wrong way, but like, the fat Sara still lives in my head rent free. She's in there because she was there not that long ago. That was her, so now she's just kind of living there, and she's that voice, that part of me still sneaks in, and she's like, you're not good enough. Look at you look terrible. Like, so defeating that and like trying to remove that piece from my mind that's probably one of the bigger challenges. And being able to look at myself. And the other thing was compliments from people that I didn't think ever like looked at me, if that makes sense. Like when somebody says, excuse me, I just ate dinner, and hiccups and burps are just part of the package deal. Okay. So they're coming with me. But anyway, so those kind of comments, like where it's like, oh, you're so small now, or, like, oh, you've lost a ton of weight. And I'm like, I have
Mhm.
a ton.
Yeah.
And
You want to overthink the things that they're saying.
yeah, and I'm kind of like, I'm a little bit sassy because I'm from New Jersey originally, and I can't get rid of that part of me either, even though I've been in Oklahoma well over a decade now. And so, like, I do say that I'm like, a ton. I haven't lost a ton, an eighth of a ton if you want to go there, but
Oh my gosh. No, I'm bad at
and
math.
people are
I
like,
know you
"Oh,
are
I didn't mean
too.
it like that." I'm like, "Yeah, but you said it like that." So I know they come from a place of kindness. I don't. I'm being sassy, and I'm like, "No, no, no, it's okay." But it's weird. It's weird, and it does make you think a little bit deeper of like person. Oh, there's Loki. Did this person treat me differently before because they looked at me this way versus how they look at me now? I don't know. I can only assume,
It makes you
and that's
think, but
good.
it gets in your head and it makes you think and all the things. And some days you're like, I just wanted to be invisible today because I used to be invisible all the time, or I felt that way. And now people are noticing me, and I just didn't want that today. Like, it can be awkward and it can be uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's just weird. And I think people who it doesn't matter which way you lose weight, whatever way
Mm-mm.
you lose weight,
Nope.
that it's really jarring the first time it happens. And it really, like, you'll be driving home or driving, just thinking about it, and you're like, I know it was a compliment. I know my rational brain is telling me it was a compliment, but this other side of me is like, what the heck?
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean?
Exactly. And I think that's, it's so important, if you're just beginning your journey, if you're in the middle of the journey, if you're done with your journey, if you've been in maintenance for a year, I think it's important to still connect with people that are along their journeys, or, or in maintenance or whatever, just to have that communication, because a lot of times you're not going to have those people just readily available to you in your regular everyday life to talk about. And I think it's good to always be able to just speak to somebody about it and get it off your chest, so they can say, yeah, that happened to me too. It just makes you feel a little bit more comfortable and, not weird for thinking the way that you're thinking, and you just feel
Yeah,
normal.
because it's not weird. It's not a weird
No.
way to think. Literally everybody, maybe not literally everybody, but like
Mostly.
a good bunch of us, let's put it that way, feel that way too, or have had those thoughts. And that's why, you guys know, I got all teary-eyed in my 100-pound weight loss video, but that's why I am so grateful for this community that we have. So always looking for ways to show gratitude back, and just talking about those things is, a way, in my world anyway, is one of my ways to do that.
Exactly. So Misty's doctor said she had nice muscle definition under all that skin. Thanks. Don't really know what you're saying. It's those are kind of hard. There's
What
always
would you like me to do with it? Oh,
I'm just gonna scroll through this
example. Healthcare, and that's from a healthcare professional.
Mm-hmm. I didn't see a lot of non-scale victories in here, guys.
What? I'm having a hard time looking at the chat because I have my phone like the most bootleg setup right now. I have my phone propped up on my laptop screen, and I have to go like this, so I'm just gonna get weird.
Let's see. Okay. Grateful, gratitude. So that's one of the things we're talking about today, because it is a G word, is gratitude. So I've noticed, it's to anybody that follows me on my channel, it's no secret that I've been doing the Silk and Sonder journals. And they have, this month, the whole entire theme is gratitude. So every single day I have a journal prompt that is directly about gratitude. But then they also have a page in here for you to write down every single day what you're grateful for. I've been doing that since probably 2019, writing down what I'm grateful for. And I think that just changing that, having that perspective and every day looking at what I'm grateful for has really helped my just overall outlook on life and things in general. Like being grateful for the food that I can eat versus, always dwelling on the things that maybe I have chosen not to include in my eating plan and schedule. So small little things like that. What are you grateful for, Sarah?
Oh gosh. Let me get the list out. Honestly, there is just so much, but I think the first thing, if I had to pick like one thing, I would say I'm thankful for support. And that is support from my family, support from our incredible times a million community, support from my friends too. Just having people that I know relate to me, and even if they don't understand, like they understand me. So that would be my number one thing if I had to pick. Just one.
It's hard to pick just one, and I don't think anybody should ever pick just one. We should have a multitude of things just because that's, there's a lot of things to not like. And so it's better to just think about all the things that we can love and be grateful for.
It's such a great exercise to just, when you're feeling kind of down or maybe lost or just feeling a way that's not positive, I guess.
So would you maybe call that gloomy?
Yeah, that's a good word.
G word.
I would say just writing down 3 things that you're grateful for, like just 3, like just one, just write one, like think of one thing that you're really grateful for. And it's hard to think of those things and not like crack a little smile about it. It's always harder in the moment. It sounds easier than it is, but that's such a good exercise. That was one of my exercises for when I was working through BED. Yes, I can't say that the whole thing on the channel. That'll
right.
YouTube is annoying like that. But when I was working through that was a big thing. Like when I was feeling or couldn't identify how I felt and wanted to binge, it was stop and write down 3 things that you're thankful for, or 3 things that you 3 ways that you want to show gratitude. It was something along those lines. It was one of my exercises. I remember it well because it works. There's a reason that they give that to you.
It does.
Because it just changes your mindset. An attitude of gratitude, as they say.
So I have a gratitude photo folder in my phone. So like whenever I stop and see, a beautiful sunrise or a great sunset or something in nature, or when my pets have a really cute look on their face or something, I have a gratitude folder on my phone so that whenever I'm having a bad moment, that's something I can easily pull out and just flip through those photos in that folder. And they're all condensed right there together so that it's going to help take away that moment of gloom.
I love that idea. Actually, just having some photos. It doesn't have to be a lot, and it doesn't have to be anything crazy, just something that makes you smile.
Exactly. And like, there's so like, I know like with hiking and stuff, there's so many times whenever I'm out and like, you just really, you breathe in the air and you smell it and you can just feel like, your body kind of warm from the head to the toe, and it just makes you feel good. And then seeing that picture and remembering that feeling of peace and joy and love. And then I can see it, and then it kind of can snap me, at least for a few minutes out of whatever it is.
Right. Even if it's for a second, right? Like if it's going to stop, like, or get you on the right path to be in a better mindset, why not? I mean, they're free. It doesn't cost you anything to write things down or save pictures in your phone.
No, not at all.
Especially
if you're going to write stuff down, you can even throw it away. It's not like you have to keep it. It's not a memento that you have to keep. It's just distracting your mind. It's just distracting you from what you're feeling at the moment.
I love that. I really love the photo idea. I think that's genius. Another G word.
Oh, I didn't even think about that one. That's a good one. But
I got you.
you did. It's really important that we, kind of have these different tools and methods. I know that I've been on a huge stress reduction type of journey, but whenever we're feeling gloomy, some people call it being in a funk, some people call it depressed, whatever. But that's a time whenever we're like really more susceptible to emotional eating or eating foods that are, higher in fat or sugar or whatever things that tend to be kind of, or highly processed foods that, just are really satiable.
Feel good
The
food.
feel good foods. And those aren't always the best things for us to be eating. Not that there's anything wrong with any of those foods, but whenever we're in that moment, it's not, if we weren't feeling that, we might not have made that decision. But because we're gloomy, we, get caught up in it. So it's important that we find other ways to get ourselves out of gloom than always trying to turn to food as a coping mechanism to deal with that.
It's one of the hardest things to overcome is using food to cope and using food to fill a void in our life.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
For sure. It's a huge one. I know that a lot of people deal with that, and it's a hard thing to break. It's a habit that we have. There's like, and it's always hard to recognize because there's so many triggers that trigger that habit. And it's, you might think that you've dealt with this one, trigger that causes that. But then there's like 20 more that come up right behind it. And you're like, where did that come from? I thought I was over this.
I thought I was over this. Why am I feeling this way now?
And that leads to my next word, which is guilt. Guilt. So then we get into this, some people can get into this cycle, you feel gloomy and then you eat the food and then you feel guilty about eating the food. And then it can just, cause you to go into this, really big spiral. And I really like it. This is another one of those things that I feel really passionate about is like, I'm so sad that people, that we've learned this behavior, that we have to feel guilty about a behavior that we learned and that we're trying to cope with something. And then we have to feel guilty. And then it just, swarms into something bigger than it is. And I wish that we could take that out of the whole thing, because I don't think we need to feel guilty about that. It just seems so not right to me, but we all do it at times. We feel guilty about these things, but it's just human nature. So, if you ever feel that way, just say, well, Deanna said I didn't have to feel guilty about this, and I don't know if that's going to help you at all or not, but I just wish we could avoid that step because it just hurts.
Yeah. I almost wonder if part of it is the conditioning. And I've talked about this before on my channel, but I think for a lot of us adults that are in our like late 30s to mid 40-ish, like this age range, we grew up at a time in the late 80s, early 90s. We were young and impressionable people it was nonstop. Any channel you put on, there was an infomercial telling you how to get Slim in 6 or your Thigh Master or 8-minute abs and all these like bombarded basically telling you like being fat is bad, right? Like so that's embedded. When you see it constantly, like how it was, it's I don't think as bad now. I don't know, I don't even have cable, so it's not as bad, I don't think now, but back when, you had one option. It was you had cable or you did not. Like it was everywhere on every single channel. Nobody was safe. And magazines were the same way. Mm-hmm. If you could go walk into a supermarket and, right at the checkout stand, there's all these diet magazines, Oprah, diet, diet, Weekly World News, Bat Boy diet, right? Like there's all this stuff. And at the age that we were growing up, where this was so in our face all the time, that's impressionable, right? Like, so that sticks with you. And I think, media, and I don't know that it's any better. I started to say, I think it's better now on TV, on social media. No, I think
No.
it's actually worse in that respect for young, especially young girls, but for young people just in general, because I'm sure it's happening to young guys too.
Oh,
And
yes.
I'm positive it is.
Yes.
And that's really hard. And I think as so, I've aged now, right? I'm about to turn 40 this year.
No.
I'm excited about it. I was like kind of freaking out for a minute, but now I'm like, no, 40's like way rad. I'm ready. But growing up now and looking back, I think a lot of the guilt that I ever felt for being bigger sized or obese came from that, knowing the health issues too. And I was having health issues. I know not everybody does, but knowing that I was having health issues being caused directly by my weight, that was part of the guilt. Like, why am I doing this to myself? I know what I'm doing. Why am I doing it? But at the same time, I think I just had somewhere in the back of this brain of mine that had this body image questions, from seeing all that as a 10 to 13-year-old girl, seeing like, if you have a big body, this is bad. I mean, that's generally the message that was being sent. And you would see these people in the commercials or on the magazine covers, and you're like, well, I'm bigger than her. Like, am I doing something wrong here? What am I doing? Like, what have I done? And I think it's just, something that our particular generation grew up with, and I think caused a certain amount of guilt. Not all of it, obviously, right? Like, we have to be responsible for our own thoughts too, but at the same time, that stuff is, I know it made an impression on me, and I cannot be the only one.
Right. Definitely. Yeah. You went way deeper on that than I was even thinking. I was thinking of it kind of just like whenever you like fall off the wagon for a couple of days, or, you have a hard time getting back on vacation, and you went over to the whole, like, whoa, the whole problem with the world.
I mean, we're influenced.
Yes. Right? Correct. No, I don't like to think of myself as that.
I know, I don't either, but
I'm just a person.
We'll make a new word that starts with G.
And we also grew up in the boom of packaged convenience food. Oh my
God. Yes.
And packaged convenience food. Oh, we're going to just, when P comes along, I'm probably not going to be able to avoid that one. But yeah, so many good topics here. Like, now gets the clean and green juice and the, just so many messages about what's supposed to be right and what's wrong. And everybody, the generalization of everything, like it's so complicated out there. It really is.
I know. It's hard. It's hard.
It is hard. It is hard. But brings me to the next G word, which is grace, which is what we have to show ourselves is grace. Have you had to show yourself grace at all during the whole process?
Every day. Especially, gosh, the first few months after surgery, I'm going to say the first 3 months, I realized I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And I really did have to, like, there were many times where I'm like, Sarah, you're learning. It's okay. Don't freak out. Like, it's okay. And I was glad that I did that and was as gracious with myself as I could have possibly been, because like around I'm going to say the 5.5 month mark, I was more like hitting my stride. But if I had not given myself the grace and space to learn, I think there would have been some panicking going on.
Are there any specific examples you'd be willing to share?
Yeah, I think so. Big one would be how much I was physically capable of doing in the first couple weeks. I was ready to get back into like my full-blown routine, and I was breaking it up into like these little walks. So I would take a 10-minute walk 3 times a day, or breaking it up. So I did do really well. But when it came time to where it was like, okay, I can get back into my run now and start running, I didn't realize how much momentum I had lost. And so I had to like really step back and be like, you're going to have to relearn all this pretty much, so regain your momentum. Because I was doing pretty well before I had surgery, but that 6-week period where I couldn't do that like heavier physical activity, it's amazing how quickly you lose it.
And you wanted to be hard on yourself for that.
I was at first. I was really hard on myself. I'm like, how did you should have been able to do this. You've been doing it this way. And then like, the part that's like, whoa, slow down. It says you just had a major surgery. You had a rest, like you're healing. Your body is healing from this major surgery. And you're just going to have to give yourself some grace.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's going to, so I did. I think I actually called it my grace period at one point or another. Like I said, I have a grace period where I can get back into the
yeah.
And that actually motivated me really well.
Because you're allowing yourself to say, okay, I'm working up to it again. I'm not going to be able to get there automatically. There's a grace period before I can get there again.
Yeah. And that's a smart thing to do, right? Like even, I think some people would look at that as a part of goal setting. There's another G word for you. I have to put like a big emphasis on it every time I say something with a G. I'm so ridiculous. But, part of goal setting, you should, that's a great way to look at it, right? Give yourself a grace period. Like I want to be able to do this within X amount of time. And that's your grace period, right? And that makes it a little bit more gentler than like an ultimatum.
Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely. For sure. Would have to agree with that.
Yeah.
I love the idea of a grace period. I do. Looking at my list of words.
I'm trying to peek at the chat and I cannot see it.
Good vibes. She's like, I can't see anything. Oh my
God. Hi,
God.
everybody who I said.
So, yeah, having a good grace period, I think that's really important. I think it's, there's so many different ways that you can apply that. And, whatever you feel like you want to give yourself a hard time, it's a good time to step back and ask yourself, is this something that I need to give myself a little bit of grace for? Because we don't always need to be so dang hard on ourselves. So, yes. Oh, there's more comments.
Now, if we're talking about being graceful, that ain't me.
Can you give any specific examples on that one?
Every now and then my kids, so I work out in my garage and I have an Alexa out there. I don't have one in here. I have an Alexa out there. And so I put my music up and like in between like sets of stuff, I'll be dancing and my kids come out and they're like, what the hell are you doing? I'm like, I'm just dancing. They're like, okay, if that's what you want to call it.
Yes, that's what I call it. It's dancing. Doesn't matter.
Also seeing, I did a run on the track and I had, we have an older GoPro and I never used it. I was like, you know what, it might be interesting to like, I have like the chest piece for it. So I'm like, let me put the GoPro on and see how this goes. Man, I've never seen footage so shaky. So I must like go side to side or something when I'm running. Like, so not graceful. Not the gazelle stride that I like to imagine myself. Another G word. Gazelle.
Gazelle. Yes. I want to be, I aspire to be a gazelle. That's my goal.
Graceful. Graceful.
And graceful, because I am not graceful
It's never
at
going to
all.
happen. No.
I am the queen of bumping into everything, and yeah, not graceful. It's
Same.
not my thing. So we kind of talked about goal. How far away from you are you from goal?
So losing 100 pounds was my big goal, and that was with surgery as a tool. When I had my surgery, and I sat down with Dr. Appel, and he asked me, what would be a goal weight for you? And I was like, 175. And he's like, let's try 145. I was like, you ever see there's a GIF, it's called like white guy blinking, where he's just like, that was me. That was my reaction to that. I was like, 145 pounds, me, moi.
But are you 5'4", 5'7"?
I am.
5'4".
Yep. That would
Yeah.
put me at a healthy,
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
Which I didn't know, because I just assumed previously that I was just never going to get that low. And 170.
Right.
Honestly, today I would actually be fine if I never lost another pound. I'm very happy with how I look right now. I'm trying to tone up a little bit and put some muscle on. But I've got a ways to go before that happens. But if I didn't lose another pound, I'd be fine.
I saw you had a home gym.
I did. Yes. I just set up my my garage keeps getting smaller as I add more equipment into it. I have a cycle, a stationary bike in there. I have a treadmill, and I have now a weight bench, and I found a weight set at Walmart, really cheap.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a decent beginner, like I call it my baby setup. And then as I get stronger, right, like I'll need to get some more stuff. But like
Right.
what I have right now is adequate, because I'm not very strong right this moment. And that was actually like, it was kind of an epiphany moment, because I was in the store and it was just me and my son, he's 12. He's a big boy though. He's tall and he's really strong. And I was in the store and he was off looking at video games or something. And I go over into the section where I want to look, and I'm like, oh, look at this set. I was so excited about it. So I go to like pick it up. It's 100-pound set. I go to pick it up and I'm like, oh shit, I can't move this. I can't pick this up. So I go and find him. I'm like, dude, I need you to come help me lift this thing into the cart. And he's like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, I can't lift it. And I didn't think of it right then and there. But like the next day or whatever, I was like, I was just carrying around that 100 pounds on me all the time.
Yeah.
4 hours a day. Like, it was so crazy to me. So I just decided, I wasn't sure whether I wanted to set, I was calling it the surgeon's goal. It's not the surgeon's goal anymore. It is my goal now. So my goal is to get down to 145. So I've got roughly 30, no spoilers for my video this weekend, but I've got roughly 30 pounds to go.
Not many.
Yeah.
Or a lot. It depends how you look at it.
I really, my grace period is to do this by my 1-year surgery anniversary, which will be August 19th. So I have quite a bit of time, and I think it's achievable. I feel it's achievable. I have to obviously put in the work, but I'm excited. I'm excited about it. It seemed so unrealistic to me at the time that I had that conversation with Dr. Appel, that I was just like, I didn't even think about it really. I'm like, oh, the surgeon's goal, like I'm really stupid about it. But now that I'm at like in the 170s, right? I'm like, oh, that's not that much more, like, which is a weird mindset. But like I said, if I never lost another pound, I'd be fine. Yeah. I'd be completely fine. This is more like a, can I do it goal? Like,
Mhm.
like, let's see, so I'm excited about it. I know I can do it.
I
I
think that's
know I
part
can
of
do
the growth we go through, though, as we shrink, which I don't know, conflicting words there. But, it's whenever, especially if you're a person that has to lose 100 pounds or more, it's hard to think about those numbers. They're just so unrealistic. But then as you get closer to them, you're like, oh, well, okay, maybe I can do that. And then, especially if you've got a health professional telling you, then you're like, oh, okay.
it.
But it
Yeah.
takes time for you to wrap your head around it because it
It's
just seems crazy, like
it,
unreal.
absurd is the word I would use.
Yeah,
When he told
there
me
you go.
145, I was like, that's absurd. No. No, sorry, buddy, not gonna happen. Like, and honestly, like mentally, I don't even, because I've never, well, I probably was at some point, maybe in like 5th grade, I was 145. But I don't know what I would look like at that weight because I've never weighed that amount, if that makes sense.
Right,
Like, so
no.
I don't even know. I'm like, what am I going to look like?
Mhm.
I don't know. I've been this weight range. This is pretty much like I'll use the word like happy weight. I guess comfortable weight is fine. Like where I don't feel like I take up too much room in myself. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it without like sounding mean or body shaming myself, which I'm not. But like it's where I felt most comfortable is in the 170s.
Mhm.
So it's like, I don't know how to picture myself any smaller than, because
Right.
I've been the same height since the 6th grade. Fun fact. No growth has happened this way, only
No. Me either.
same exact height. Kind of wild. I'm like, I actually just saw like a class picture too, and I was like, why was I the tall kid here?
You were the tall kid.
In 5th grade, I was the tall kid. But then
Wow.
that's why the universe was like, nah, you're done. You've grown enough.
Oh, wow.
So you can grow the other way now.
Oh. You can go the other way. So yeah. Gym. So yeah, I'm totally not a gym person. I don't know that I will ever be a gym person. Just the whole act of getting dressed and getting in my car and driving and going to the gym and then having to, do all that and come back home. It's just like I'm a home workouter type person. That's just who I am. It's not, I do like to work out in groups and I do like to work out with other people. And so I'm very thankful for technology and that we can do like Zoom classes and things like that
Yeah,
now.
cool.
Because it used to be you could only get that in a gym. And I'm so happy that I don't have to go to a gym to get that community. So if it's community you're looking for, you don't necessarily have to go to a gym. You just have to be creative about how you do it. So there's no right way, but some people are really motivated by going to the gym. So it's always good to, try it out. And then, as we change in size, we might change who we are as people. And I would say to people to always be open to trying different experiences because you might just get bored with what you're doing and you might need to change. And, having, lost some weight or something, it might give you a little bit of, a sense of accomplishment or something. You might be able to go, and do it. And you might actually find it fun, but something that you didn't enjoy whenever, you're at your heaviest weight now becomes something that you actually love. You just never know how we're going to change as people. There was a time in my life when I didn't like peas and now I like peas. So I'm just saying,
I love that. It's so funny that you bring this up because right around the corner from me, there used to be a grocery store. It closed. And it's been empty for a while. And they just announced that they're putting a gym in there. It's this gym called Crunch Fitness. And it's really affordable. They have a lot of amenities and it's literally less than half a mile. Like it's
Oh.
walking distance. So I was kind of like, maybe that would be something, because if I could walk to it, I mean, that's what I love to do. I love walking.
Mm-hmm.
If I could walk to it and then walk back, that could be something, like, because my garage is only going to hold so much.
Right.
Only so much. So I don't know. I think I might try it. I'm sure when they open, they'll have some kind of like special is what
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping for. So like maybe I'll sign up for like a trial membership or whatever they offer when they open.
If you can walk to it, it's hard to pass it up. I mean, even if it was only
Really?
like a Sunday thing that you did, once a week, it would still be,
Yeah, for
if,
10 bucks a month
if
or
the
whatever.
cost was,
Yeah. Yeah, I think they have tiers. It's like 10, 20, 30, depending on what stuff you want to do at the gym. Now, if they have a pool, I'll be
oh, I would too. Love swimming. I love swimming. Oh my gosh, do I love swimming.
It's such good exercise.
But it's just fun to change things up. I think it just gives it a little bit of, just a little bit of spark and fun whenever,
I wouldn't mind having the options, right? Like being like,
Yeah.
maybe today I want to go sweat in the sauna or something. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I want my thing to be today. And if I wanted that right now, I could not do it. I have neither a sauna or a gym membership. So, but yeah, I might do it. I might do it. I don't know. I can't decide.
So Misty brought up a good word that we have not talked about. And before we go, because we only have 2 minutes left, I want to talk about grieve. We miss old habits and want to go back to them instead. Grieve has been a big word. I think grieve is very common whenever it comes to weight loss. We have to, you mentioned it in that video. I was showing about how we have to grieve our old clothes, old habits. Like, what's been whenever I say that, what's the biggest thing do you think that you've had to grieve?
Yeah, I would probably say I did not realize how attached I was to some clothing that I owned. And I think it was just because I was wearing the same stuff for so long. And there were shirts that I was like, I don't want to get rid of this, but like it was so big, it was goofy, so that, and I mean, there's a feeling attached to like sitting there and eating like a half of a chocolate cake. Right? I mean, there's a feeling attached to that. Like, I can't lie about it. This was obviously a problem that I had. And so that feeling, I guess it's comfort, or I don't know, like the feeling of having food as a coping mechanism, because that is absolutely a no-go for me.
Mm-hmm. You got lost, like you don't know what to do, jittery, anxious, like, because that has been your way.
I have to be very intentional about what it is I do when I'm feeling that feeling or craving that feeling, or missing it, or like we're talking about grieving it. Like, I have to be really, really intentional about what I do next, because it's not impossible to binge with a vertical sleeve gastrectomy. It's not impossible. It has much harsher consequences, although that's not really true either. I shouldn't say that, because the consequences are carrying around an extra 100 pounds on your body, or however many. But there's, I guess, more in the moment consequences is probably a better way to put it. And I'd rather not feel that. I'd rather work through the emotion that I'm feeling and get physically ill. It's not pleasant, and I don't want to do it. So that is hard. It's hard letting go of some of those old comforts, and that old past version of how you solved your problems. You almost have like a little funeral for that. Yeah, because you're like, I cannot do this.
Yep. I've been there, done that. Do you think it's easier for you to identify those feelings before they come on? I know that sometimes for me, like the feeling comes and like it's a wave and everything, and like all the behaviors like with that come with the feeling, it all just happens in a big wave, and you don't really know that it's happening until it happened, and then you're like, oh shit, that just happened. Do you think it's easier to identify when those feelings are coming on now, or is it still the same?
It's not so much when they're coming on, it's when I want to act on them. I can identify that much easier now because I'm so scared of the consequence of dealing with it the way I used to deal with it. Not coming on, no. How could I explain this? It's like I don't want to use that description, but that's a good description. It's like going back it's like quitting smoking. Have you ever smoked?
Yes, I did once.
Okay, and so you quit.
Yep.
So when you quit smoking, I have too. I'm 13 years quit, thank God. When you quit smoking, you know, right? When you have your last cigarette, you're like, I'm not going to smoke again. I don't want to smoke. It's gross. It's bad. I don't want to do it. And then, you know, you walk by and you smell cigarette smoke or something. You hold a pen, you know, you hold a pen in your hand and you're just like, oh, you know, like there's all these little things that kind of make you want to smoke. And then you either make the choice to go get yourself a pack of cigarettes or you don't.
Yep.
Right. So I think that's probably the best comparison that I have is like quitting smoking because you're quitting your coping mechanism.
Right. Exactly.
I hope that made sense. Did I answer the question?
You did actually.
In the zone. Just
did
let
answer
me
the
talk.
question.
Just let me talk, Deanna. I'll just talk forever.
But and then it'll come up at the weirdest time where you're like, you know, I haven't smoked in years, and then you're like, but why did I just have this feeling like I wanted a cigarette, like out of nowhere? So yeah, it's something that's going to come up, and then we just learn these new, and then you have to retell your brain. It's like, no, I don't do that. Like, why
smoke? Like, ew.
And it's that way with, you know, with food, with, you know, running to comfort food, with using the food as a coping mechanism. It's not something that it's just going to go away. You know, we're always going to have to be aware of those thoughts and feelings that we're having that are going to lead us to food if that's something that we've used as a coping mechanism in the past.
Yep.
It's going to come up at some time whenever you're, you know, least expecting it, and you're just going to have to be, oh my God, don't do that. So anyway, I like to be respectful over everybody's time, and we just talked over time.
Oh, I don't
care. But I'm sorry if I put you on the spot. I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but I want to thank you so much for being. Yeah, I don't know. I just never know if I'm crossing the line with questions or not.
Stop it. No, not with me. Maybe other people. Not Sarah.
I've been binging with spending money instead, which wasn't good. I know. Yeah, you've got to watch that retail therapy. That's not a healthy thing.
That's actually common in weight loss surgery circles. Is they call it addiction replacement.
Oh,
it's a very real problem, and spending is one of them. So that was a good call out. Alcohol is another. Those are the two big ones that you hear about often.
Really?
It's replacing the food eating habit with the overdoing of something else.
Well, that's good to know.
A transfer addiction transfer. Yeah. That's like that. There is a technical term for it. It's like a legit.
Wow.
That was part of my coaching session when I went through the coaching sessions, and they said, you need to be aware of this. Like, it happens to people.
Well, that's good. I'm so glad that they offered that, because I think it's so important. It's such a big change to go through, and yeah, it's good. It's just always helpful for people to have, help whenever they're going through something big. So anyway, again, thank you. Thank you everybody for watching tonight. It was the ABCs of weight loss. We'll be back again next week. There was something else I wanted to say. but I can't remember what it was.
How amazing you are. Deanna's amazing.
I'm not that amazing.
I'll say it for you.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Okay,
And
but
thank you for having me on. This was so fun.
anytime. If there's another letter, if there's a word that you feel passionate about and you want to be a guest again,
Just
let me know. We can probably
keep me on my
schedule
toes. Keep me on my
Right.
toes and just bring me on and don't tell me the letter. Like I'm
Oh my
not.
gosh.
telling you.
I could do that. I could do that.
It's random letters, alphabets.
Whenever we come to Z, whatever, we just got to make stuff up because there's nothing that was Z. Z sucks. Z is terrible.
Yeah, no,
Okay, guys, we'll see you in the next video. As
Bye.
always,
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.